And welcome inside Jerome McGinley Arena for playoff action. It's the Beaumont Outlaws on the road in game one to take on the St. Albert Crude. The Crude, the second seed in the north, the Outlaws, the third seed. It's game one of a best of three. And we're off here. The Outlaws gaining first possession. Outlaws will be wearing their road whites. Moving from left to right on your screen, while the Crude will be wearing their home gray, moving from right to left on your screen. This is the first playoff matchup between these two franchises, believe it or not, in a four-team North Division, as Grace sails one in from distance, easily stopped by Horn, and Schultz will transition out. He hands off to Elliott. Liam Elliott skips in to the dotted and gets it up high. Ball swings over to the left side. Josh Vodchuk on the run, rips one off the post on a little jump shot from the perimeter. He grabs the loose ball, and they're gonna call back over, but that went off the bar. I don't know about that. The Outlaws come back down the other way. That shot in transition is stopped by Horn. Starting goaltenders for this one, William Horn in the Crude net, and then down in the other end, due to some unforeseen circumstances, is Daniel Willis. Here's Liam Elliott, swings it to Josh Vodchuk. Vodchuk skips down underneath. He's chased into the corner. He looks to feed behind the back, up high, and that shot went wide on the far side. The ball bounces out over center, and it's going to be picked up by Noah Keller. On the run, Keller decides to take a run around the net, and he feeds it out front to Porter. Jesse Porter tied up. Ball goes loose as Grace is struggling with the knee, and he came into the game banged up, and he's decided to give it a go. It does not look good right now as he hops off the floor, and the ball bounces into the crease. Again, I got a feel for Grace, as you know that he's putting himself in maybe an uncomfortable position, not having played in a while and all banged up with the knee problems, and he braved it out to dress here, and to see him hop off the floor this early especially is disappointing, and I feel for him as Elliott comes back down into the Outlaw zone to the net. Liam Elliott, and he throws a couple of fakes and pumps it by Willis. 1-0 Crude. Crude gonna win the draw here, and the ball was lost by the Crude, and it's gonna be picked back up by the Outlaws. It's Booth, the assistant captain, will transition it, and he gets it into the stick of Jesse Porter, who's gonna be counted on heavily here tonight, especially with what looks like Grace not being able to continue here, as Wells had that thrown into his feet. He goes and collects the loose ball. Wells off the half wall, shoots that wide, loose ball pops back out. The Outlaws miss it a couple of times. Now it's picked back up by Jesse Porter. Porter floats one in on net, gets the reset, but Horn absorbs it and sends it up floor. McConnell has the ball go over his head, but he runs it down. A couple of Outlaws join him, and he gets it up high to Elliott. Elliott just simply blowing past his defender on that goal to open up the scoring here. Shot comes in wide from Vodchuk. Ballantyne back over to Vodchuk. Vodchuk to the dotted. Feeds it, Ballantyne behind the back, and that hit bar and stayed out. As now they nab the Outlaws for back in. And the Crude will get back-to-back possessions here. Vodchuk, left side. Ballantyne swings it quickly back over to Elliott. Elliott now back over to the left side for Vodchuk. Vodchuk is knocked into the corner by Gaudreau. He flips it, and it's right into the stick of Stashniak, who came in over from the trade with the Warriors, him and Muir, and they'll look and count on those two to provide some offense in transition and obviously play some good D, as the ball is missed by the Outlaws, what should have been an easy loose ball, and the Crude gain possession back. 16 minutes to go here, first period, Crude up 1-0. As they look to set up here on offense. Here's Bennett Fry, who's had a pretty good second half of the season. He threw that away, but gets it right back. Fry, high pass. It's mishandled, and now it's picked up, but lost again by Fodchuk. Ball pops up in the air. Smith throws one at the net. Ball right to Bowie, and he takes a low shot. Stopped by Willis. Good to see him make a save here early as that first shot went in. Here's Elliott to the circle, back up. Here's Bowie, engages his defender, and he sends it back up, and Elliott fires one up high off the crossbar. The ball bounces back down into the Crude zone. They'll pick it up, and this time they don't call back over, and the Crude will maintain possession. Shots 3-3 at the moment. 15 minutes to go here, first period. Ball into the corner, sent back up and swung to Fry. Fry into the middle. He had Elliott open, but the ball didn't get there, and the ball will be missed by Walker. Now he picks it up, and he'll look to get up floor here as he's pressed by Elliott. Walker making it over in time, and he'll look to dish. Like I said off the top here, these two teams never having met in a 4-team division in the playoffs is pretty wild. As Wells comes in and shoots one high on Horn, and he makes the save. Here's Nick Capillo. Sends it up floor. Fodchuk off the bench, and he throws one low on Willis on the run to make it 2-0. So the Crew double their lead here, and now they win another draw, and Fodchuk has possession. They'll get a change and send out more front gate players. Here is the Crude as they had a little bit of a hidden ball, and Fry was fake cradling, and the ball was sent over to him, and unaware, the ball will go loose now. Ball is picked up by Elliott. Shot comes in from way out, and that's an easy stop for Willis, and he'll look to outlet. Shots before that, 4-4. I don't even want to count that as a shot. It says 5-4 now. And the score 2-0 Crew. That ball is behind its target, and Porter's going to have to go and collect. Ball is swung. Shot. Hildebrand on the run. Good stop there by Horn. Ball goes way up in the air. A Crude player looks like, can't quite see the number yet, 5. That is Lucid. Threw a man down, and the Outlaws will get a reset. Up top, Hildebrand sends it over to Walker. Playing some offense here. Walker, that shot hit something on its way to Horn. Easy stop for him. Now a pass up floor is picked off by Sutherland. Sutherland mishandles it, and he's stripped by Fodchuk. Ball bounces through the legs of Elliott, and now Keller's going to pick it up. Keller up top. Ball sent down to Porter, in and out of his stick. Crude will look to get up the floor, but a nice strip there by the Outlaws. Lewis is going to grab it and send one high over top of the net. Keller, loose ball. Keller to the dotted. Flips it back out for Lewis. He'll collect it off the boards. Lewis to Porter. Porter sends it up to Rossman. Rossman down to Wells. Wells is going to spin as he's harassed there by Bilichuk. Wells flips it inside. Keller, and as he jumped up, got hit, and that shot was absorbed by Horn. As the Crude race away with it. In transition, and that look was fought off by Willis. As now the Crude pick the ball back up. That shot coming in from Chase Girard, the AP. Elliott. Fodchuk rips it down. Bowie tried to go short side there and missed the target. And they're going to call back in once again. That's already been a call on the Outlaws a couple of times here. And it's going to happen again, and the Crude are going to get a fresh 30. Here's Fry. As an up pick comes for him, the ball sails over to the left side. Fodchuk on the run, stopped by Willis. And here's Muir. Muir's got a breakaway here. Lachlan Muir all alone. Stopped by Horn as he stands tall there. Now Elliott is run over. The ball right at the box, and then the ball was picked up by the Crude and buried in transition as Elliott slow to get up, but Fry with the marker, the Crude up by a field goal. So it looks like we got some type of stoppage here. I thought they might be assessing an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. That's not the case. So with 11:35 to go, scores 3-0 here, Crude, and we'll have a face-off. I think what happened was they had a delayed call against the Outlaws. It's wiped out by the goal. And the Crude with yet another face-off win here as Drader is going to handle it over center. Gets across the timeline and hands it off. Ballantyne will take over. He flips it into possession of Bowie, who gets it up to Fry. The latest goal scorer here for the Crude. Been on a roll, as I said, offensively here of late. Elliott shoots that, goes off a stick. Loose ball, Fodchuk. With the shot clock winding down, he just ripped it towards the net. And it'll be Outlaw possession. Key point in this game, the Outlaws can't afford to get down too much further here, even though there's plenty of time to go. Horn with a couple of big saves, the Outlaws just haven't gotten one yet. As Hildebrand to the net, and that ball dribbles in. And just as I say that, that's one Horn's going to want to have back. It's 3-1. Ball goes loose off the draw, and it's going to be grabbed by the Crude, who have really taken control of face-offs in this game. Booth kind of stuck his foot out there. Luckily for Drader, he was able to evade it. And Stenson is going to hand it off to Bowie. Bowie to Elliott. Two-man game here on the right side. Elliott underneath all the way to the net, and he stepped inside the crease as he tried to almost throw it behind his legs there. And it'll be Outlaw possession. Polson was a big addition for the Outlaws at the deadline, coming down from the Junior A minors. They're going to need him to play some offense as he feeds it inside, and that's a good stop by Horn. As the ball is carried away by Dzwanka. Here's Fry for the Crude. Scoreboard reads 3-2. It's 3-1, in case you catch a glimpse of that. As that ball almost dribbles behind Willis, but he fights it off. Polson is going to be tasked with grabbing and going here. Polson pushed to the Crude bench. He takes a slash on the legs. And it is going to be picked up by the trail official, Wes Kendall. And the Crude will be going to the box. Outlaw power play. I always got to laugh when you hear that. Somebody in the stand saying it's just lacrosse, no penalty. That is, in fact, a penalty, and the Outlaws will get their first man advantage of the game. So with 9:23 to go, the Outlaws down a pair, go to the man advantage. I want to remind you about Battle of the Border. Battle of the Border will take place in Missoula, Montana. Go tour the beautiful University of Montana campus and check out the North versus South box lacrosse game. That's this September, Missoula, Montana, Battle of the Border. As that shot comes in, Ellis almost had the loose ball. Now it's going to be fought for and grabbed back by the Outlaws. Good hustle back by Lewis. And here's Hildebrand up top. Wells mishandles that. Wells not sharp here early. There is a guy that's really going to be needed here. Nick Capillo, and he sends that way high. Ball bounces all the way back down, and it'll be Outlaws possession on the back over. It never gets old listening to the comments from the stands. As the ball works away, it's around the perimeter. Wells back up top, and he fires that low on Horn, and the seal was set by Ellis, freeing Wells up to gather that shooting lane, and gather he did, and he buried it 3-2. It's amazing how many times that happens. I was just talking about the Outlaws needing Wells to step up. He does so on that power play, and the Outlaws find themselves down by just one, and now they had a 3-on-2 that they're going to pull out of. Bad pass, and turns over into Crude possession. So 3-2 here with 8 minutes to go, just over 8 minutes to go in the first period. Shots 10-9 now in favor of the Outlaws. Schultz hands it to Fry, who's going to wait for some help here, and he gets it up top. Bowie sends it down to the half wall where Fawchuk awaits. He swings it over to Elliott. Liam Elliott winds and fires, and that just missed the short side. That pick is set by Ballantyne, but instead they go to Bowie. Bowie into the middle, and he bounces that wide to the short side, and the Outlaws, if they could have grabbed it there, might have had a partial break. Sutherland is going to regather, and they'll come down 3-on-3 now. As that shot comes in high, stopped by Horn with his shoulder. And now Nick Capillo is brought down, and it's going to be a penalty coming up to the Outlaws. So cross-checking penalty, and Crude power play sets up. Fry, Elliott. Fry comes up, sets the seal. Elliott is going to whip it down, and they tried to send it out in front to Fry, who rolled off that seal nicely and picked off by Stashniak. And that's something that he really brings, is a good stick on the back end. Can grab loose balls for you, pick off passes, things like that. And he shows it there, and the Outlaws bring it up over center as they'll hold on to it. Lewis is bothered there by Reich. Lewis comes up high, and he'll wait as the Outlaws content to kill some time here. Lewis way out, sends that wide. It's going to be picked up by Reich now. Reich stripped. That'll be back over. Well, Hildebrand's just going to pick it up. And now he'll be pressed by Reich. Possessed here by Rossman. Rossman checked there by Reich. Rossman now sends it into the corner for Ellis. Ellis hooked up there. Ellis on the run. That shot hit something, and then Ellis is taken heavy into the boards by Ferretti. Ball up floor. Dizwanka. Elliott. A minute or 35 seconds to go on this power play. Ball in the stick of Liam Elliott now. Already with 1 in this game. Opened up the scoring early on. Ball into the middle. Misses Fry. He'll pick up the loose ball. And it's up top. Elliott steps into one. Right into the gut of Willis. And the Outlaws are going to look to get up floor here. Needing to avoid the 8-second count. Muir sends it up floor. Wide open. Porter. And that's a big stop there by Horn, as Porter probably needed to elevate that ball a little more. Porter out in front, and Horn down to the floor. Makes the save as Porter tried to go 5-hole on that second opportunity. The Outlaws, however, do kill it off and had probably the 2 best looks on the tail end there by Porter. And will remain at 3-2. Here's Fry with all day. Now it gets stepped up on by Walker. Ball up high. Now down into the corner for Fodchuk, who also has a goal in this game. And that's a heavy pick. Smith with a shot on the pick and roll. And Keller is going to pick up the loose ball, and he's bouncing it up floor. But it's going to be picked off by Schultz. And you can never question his hustle and his effort. And good job to get back there and interrupt that play for the Crude. Here's Fry. Elliott. As he's marked by Polson. Ball swings into the stick of Ballantyne. Ballantyne steps back, stopped by Willis. Keller, loose ball. He loses it, and then the ball came right back out to Ballantyne, who's stopped by Willis. And now Willis with a high pass, and it goes right into the stick of Cook, and then he's checked on the trail back by Elliott. So some good reverse transition work here by the Crude, keeping the Outlaws off the board for the time being. 4 minutes to go now, first period. Crude up by 1. Fry. It's to Stenson. Down to the half wall where Fodchuk loves to operate from. He's chased into the corner now, and now he sends it back up. Ballantyne steps into one, and that got disrupted on its way to the net. Now Willis, using that high ceiling, hits Walker. Walker to Muir. Muir whips it down to Wells, and Horn dropped to the floor to make that save on the low shot. And Horn's made some nice saves here in this first period. And it's probably been the difference here so far. 3-2, 3 minutes to go in the first period. Fodchuk, moving pick there. And that didn't get called as the Outlaws come back up floor. And it's going to be picked up by Fry. Fresh 30 now. As the Crude want a penalty there. Not going to get one. Crowd does not like it. Ball bounces. Elliott. He tried to go behind the back there. Outlaws come back the other way as Rossman goes down up floor. You know, that's a tough position to be in if you're the official. And Fry does like to embellish a little bit from time to time. He didn't even really argue it. I think he knew. But credit to him, he tried to draw the call. I mean, that's what you got to do in the playoffs. And the Crude are going to come back up floor. 2.5 to go first period. Crude up 3-2. Elliott all the way to the dotted. He gets knocked down. And he rolls the ball up to Bowie, who gets chased. Fry. Fodchuk misses the target. Loose ball, batted around, and Walker's going to have to run this down. If he can get there quickly, he'll save this possession for the Outlaws. He kind of lets up, though, as a Crude player comes in and makes this difficult on him. Now a second Crude player, that's Reich, comes in and grabs the ball. Probably one, if you're the Outlaws, you want to see your guy get. And now Wells is going to press Reich as he tries to make it up. And again, Wells with the strip. Wells is going to be chased by Reich, and he rolls it over to Polson. Outlaws in possession here. 1.5 to go. Ball up high. Backpedaling and getting the ball up high to Hildebrand. Hildebrand misses that. Now he doesn't pick it up. It's going to be back over. And now here comes Fodchuk wide open off the bench, and they sail it over his head. Some sloppy play there by both teams, and the Crude had a golden opportunity there that they just mishandled. Now Hildebrand will recalibrate for the Outlaws. Up pick there. Now it's sent up to Lewis. Lewis, two-man game. Lewis to the net, gets chased by Nicopillo. Nicopillo on him, and now out of the corner comes Lewis. Cross feed, or cross crease pass, and the ball didn't quite get there, and Horn picks up the loose change. No timeout forthcoming here from the Crude because there is still 40 seconds remaining in the first period. Elliott up floor. You might see the Outlaws take one, especially if they get the ball back with a decent amount of time. That shot from the corner comes in, stopped by Willis. And now the Crude are going to get a reset. 20 seconds remaining in the period. Fry is going to wait. Horn will not leave the net. So they'll go 5-on-5. No timeout either. Ballantyne down in to the corner for Fodchuk. He comes out with it. He swings it to Elliott. Elliott looking to shoot. Elliott now winds and fires. That goes off a stick, and Muir is going to pick up the loose ball, and that will do it for the first period as Elliott pushes and shoves with Sutherland a little bit. And after one, your score will be the St. Albert Crude 3, the Beaumont, almost said Edmonton, the Beaumont Outlaws 2. We want to thank you for joining us here on the channel, CROW LAX TV. Hit subscribe. You'll be notified every time a game goes live. It's game one of the North semifinal. The Crude up by a score of 3-2. It's a best of three. Game one goes down right now. Stay with us. We'll be right back in about 10 minutes. Welcome back inside the Jerome Aginla Arena for period 2 of game number 1 between the Beaumont Outlaws and the St. Albert Crude. The Crude with a 3-2 lead here. Shots after 1. Outlaws 18, Crude 15 in what was a pretty back and forth first period. The Crude would go up 3-0. The Outlaws would answer back with a couple, and that's where we sit here as we start up play here. And the face-off was awarded to the Outlaws, so they'll have the first possession of the period. Here's Rossman, the South Edmonton Warrior alumni, sends one in, well wide. And the Outlaws are going to be grabbing too many men. There's plenty of people here. Yelp. So the Crude are going to go back to the power play here, early second period. And Elliott's going to start it up. He's got Fry and Fodchuk on the shooters and Stenson. And I would imagine that's Bowie down low. Can't see his number. As Elliott sends it over to Fodchuk. Fry steps into one, and Wellis will grab that. He's got an easy outlet. He takes the tougher one to Porter. And now the Outlaws have some numbers here. Porter, he hurries, gets it low. Gaudreau feeds it, and then Wells didn't bring it in. It'll be Crude ball here. And it's brought up by Nick Capillo. Minute 20 to go in the man advantage as Fodchuk eases his way into the zone. Josh Fodchuk, the leading scorer for the Crude this season. Sends it up to Elliott. Elliott, Fry gets it back to Elliott. Up pick from Fry. The ball goes off of an Outlaw defender's body up into the ceiling, and the Crude will maintain possession. Here's Elliott. Skips it down. Now it goes through Fry back up to Elliott. Fry right to the net, and it's stopped by Willis. Gaudreau is going to have to grab this eventually here. Thought he had it, but he mishandled it, and now the ball gets knocked over. That'll avoid the 8-second count, and Gaudreau, excellent hustle here to run this down, but it's picked up by Horn. And the Outlaws never possessed it, so that's going to be a shot clock violation. Now 3-on-1, Porter to the dotted, and he goes way high with that. Ball bounces all the way back into the Outlaw zone. That will be over and back. And the Outlaws got to hurry up here if they want to get back, as Fodchuk is camping out on the crease. They send him back into the corner, and now the Outlaws finally get back. Smith down low to Fodchuk, who comes up to the shooter. He looks at the net, and he gets chased out. Keller knocks it away. Now the ball is bumped out high. Keller has the ball in behind him, and now Gaudreau is going to have to grab it. Keller now with the shot at it, and Keller is going to come away with it all the way to the net and right into the chest of Horn, but he throws it away into possession of Gaudreau. Wearing the C here for the Outlaws. And the captain is going to wait for some help here. And he's going to get it to to Hildebrand. Now to Wells. Hildebrand slips off a check. He rolled into the middle. Wells going to keep it though. Now he flicks it over to the left side. Lewis pulled underneath a defender. He tried to roll back, and then a couple of fakes. Still had it, and Horn with the save. As he had some room on the far side and elected to go back to the short side high. And Horn was waiting for it. Some nice moves there by the AP, Kieran Lewis. Now that shot low. Porter gets denied and sent up nicely. Horn to Reich, tried to send it to Schultz. That was low and away from him. And the Outlaws are going to gather and go. Wyatt Polson with it. Team's back to even strength, obviously, by now, as Polson comes into the zone and handles it down low. Feeds it. He had Muir rolling, but he wasn't looking for the ball. Now Ellis collects it, flips it up to Muir. Muir all the way to the dotted, and then Horn stepped out and pinned that to his body. Muir probably could have ran right to the net, but decided to maybe try and catch Horn off guard. Horn with the save, and the Crude come back into offensive possession here. Ball around to the right side. Elliott to the dotted. Ball is knocked away from him. And here come the Outlaws. Noah Keller, the rookie, coming down, surveying his options, and it's a 3-on-2 here for the Outlaws. Hildebrand to the net, and Horn has that roll through him. And it looked like he made the save and kind of turned around toward the far boards. And as he did that, the ball rolled over the line, and we have ourselves a tie game. Marcus Hildebrand with his second of the game gets us back to evens here. Outlaws on a 3-goal run of their own after giving up the game's first 3. Off the draw, the Crude missed the ball. Porter is going to almost get it stripped. Hangs on to it just long enough to get it up to Stashnik as Porter and Ferretti are going at it. Nothing comes of that. Well, they're still going at it. And the ball is going to come back into Crude possession. Wide open out of the gate is Josh Fodchuk. And he sails it over top of the net. He had Willis beat and just missed the target. He had the whole short side and unable to capitalize there as the Outlaws falling asleep, not getting off the floor and not getting back. The Crude unable to capitalize. Here's Hildebrand. That pick is set. Getting away with maybe a little bit of a moving pick. Hildebrand shot stopped by Horn as he challenged it, stepping out there. And Gaudreau is brought down behind the play, and it's going to be interference and Outlaws ball here as Booth gets bothered here by Schultz, who's whacking and hacking away at him. Wells chased out here by Reich. He gets grabbed. No call. The ball is bound. Now Wells is pushing and shoving with Schultz, and he's going to make it easy on the referee to give the Crude the ball back. Now 2-on-1 here. Nicapillo to Elliott off the bench, and Elliott tried to dunk it over Willis, and he stands tall there. Now the Crude back with Fodchuk. He skips into the dotted, and now he'll backpedal out. Pick set there. Fodchuk going airborne, and they call him over top of the cylinder. Ball stayed out anyway, and now here go the Outlaws. Richardson hustles into the Crude zone, and he'll stop up. Here's Muir. Lachlan Muir to the circle. Now he comes over top. Muir has Hildebrand wide open. Hildebrand, great save by Horn as Hildebrand faked to the far side and came back to the short, and Horn somehow kept his shoulder tight to the bar. Horn has made some big-time saves in this one. Got to give him credit as the Crude remain tied here with the Outlaws. Now, ball was picked up off the floor by Lewis. Lewis tucks underneath. He takes a high hit, and he backpedals out now. He sends it over to Hildebrand. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Marcus Hildebrand engages a defender. Hildebrand, low shot. He tries to hustle and grab his rebound, and he does, as Horn just wasn't able to grab it and pull it back in. As Porter goes at it down low with, looks like maybe Lemieux. It's a Crude defender. And now the ball back over to Porter. Outlaws doing some heavy work. Aitken with the pick. And now Horn will grab this shot, send it up floor. And now a Crude player is sent to the floor right at the Outlaw gate. Some undisciplined play there. And it actually looks like, oh, the Crude think it is on the Crude here. Maybe they're sending both guys to the box. It looks like they're sending both guys to the box, as there was a tie-up in behind the play, Drader and Porter. So we'll go 4-on-4 here with 13:10 to go. Score tied 3-3. So it looks like they call Porter for diving. And they send Drader for, I didn't quite see the signal. I believe it might have been a rough. So we'll play 4-on-4 here. So Fodchuk is going to send it back over to Fry. Wide open was Elliott, but he thought the ball was over on the other side of the floor. And I don't think Fry was looking for him anyway. Fodchuk now, step back shot. Loose ball into the stick of Fry. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Elliott comes over top with it. Liam Elliott is going to gather and shoot, and that misses the target. Elliott rebound, and that shot is soaked. I think that went off Gaudreau. All the way back down the floor. It'll be Outlaws ball. 1:30 to go on the penalties. Wells out of the corner. That quick stick is turned away easily by Horn. And the Crude with Nick Apillo come back the other way. Partial numbers here, 3-on-2 for a moment. And now Cook steps in and will set up here. Smith to the net, and he sent that wide as he came in off the bench. Nick Apillo gets bumped and throws it away. Outlaws ball. Gaudreau with a heavy steam, head of steam, gets up the floor, and he peels out. Gaudreau out front to Rossman. Rossman gets knocked back, and he surveys. Rossman to Gaudreau. Now over to the left side. Aitken engages a defender and loses it. Loose ball is nicely picked up by Horn, aggressively and alertly picking it up, and now Lemieux sent down behind the plate. Doesn't look like there's a call there. Didn't quite see what happened there. And now the Outlaws are going to turn and go with it. Sutherland, lob pass right into the stick of Lewis. Lewis, a huge fake, and Horn stayed with it just enough. That's a great save by William Horn. Back the other way, Reich has that trickle through Willis, and it's 4-3. So Kieran Lewis gets absolutely robbed by Horn. The ball gets thrown back the other way, and Reich has a dribbler trickle in past Willis. The Crude have a 1-goal lead back in their favor. Now McConnell with numbers, 2-on-1. Parker McConnell scores. McConnell looked like he threw that either down at the near foot or through the legs of Willis, and in transition, the Crude go back up by 2. So we have a face-off infraction. I think somebody was over the line, and they're going to give the Crude the ball on the violation. The shots right now, the Outlaws have gone up 29-18, but it's the last 2 shots that have gone in for the Crude, and they enjoy a 2-goal lead here. Fodchuk steps into one, stopped by Willis. And he's going to look to outlet, and he's going to have to send it up here, and they're going to have to hurry to avoid the 8-second count, and Keller is going to fail to get it up over center, and the Crude come back the other way. Numbers here, Fodchuk in and sails one right into the logo of Willis. Now Willis sends a nice pass up to Walker, Regan Walker, and delayed call coming up to the Crude here. Aitken, and that shot easily soaked up by Horn, and the Crude are going to go to the box. We've got an Outlaws power play on deck. So the ball is going to work around the perimeter here. Wells with Ellis and Lewis up high. Hildebrand down low. Porter down low as well on the crease. Here's Wells with that shot up high, stopped by Horn, who, ladies and gentlemen, has been the difference in this game. As the ball works back away, or back up to Wells. Wells. That shot from Lewis, soaked up by Horn. Nicapillo will grab the ball. Up floor to McConnell, who's chased by Gaudreau. Gaudreau, heavy hack at him. McConnell to Bowie, stopped by Willis. Or sorry, that's Drader. Thought it was 4. It's 14. And Drader's going to pick up the loose ball. Drader is going to hang on to it and just sort of back into his defender, Richardson, and now he's going to hand it off. Elliott will take it over on the far wall. Fry up high. He's waving somebody over to come get it from him. He sends it over to Fodchuk. Pick set there. Ballantyne rolls open. Doesn't get it. Fodchuk off his back foot. That ball stays out. And the Outlaws didn't really try to pick it up. Now they gain possession. 40 seconds remaining in the man advantage. Key opportunity here as the Outlaws try to rein this one back in. After tying it 3-3, they're now down 5-3 on back-to-back transition goals. That just sort of dribbled by the netminder. Here's Wells. Shooter to Lewis. Back up to Lewis. Through the crease. Now Wells steps into one. Stopped there by Horn as he does the splits to the floor. Now ball is sent up floor and Schultz gains the line and avoids that time count. And it looks like the Crude are going to kill this off. As we go back to even strength, Lemieux gets out of the box. Fodchuk over to Elliott. Liam Elliott to the dotted, tries to go underneath. He gets pushed in around behind the net. Elliott back up with it to Fry. Fry shoots it and into the stick of Willis. The ball goes and he's looking to outlet, but he's going to send that into the ceiling. And we're going to get a second media timeout of the game with 7:58 to go here in the second. I want to remind you about Battle of the Border. Battle of the Border takes place in Missoula, Montana this September. Check out the North versus South box lacrosse game and tour the beautiful University of Montana campus. That's Battle of the Border this September in Missoula, Montana. Check it out. As play gets blown back in, here's Fodchuk up to the dotted. Now he swings it to Fry, and he goes down low, and it's brought up by Elliott. Elliott steps into one. That goes off of a maze of bodies, and the loose ball is picked up by Smith. Smith is harassed by Gaudreau. He flips it into the middle for Ballantyne, and that shot goes into the stick and out of Willis. Ball is grabbed momentarily by Stashnik. He rolls it up the boards, where it's collected by Cook. Cook is going to have to hurry as he's chased, and he gets it up to Stashnik. Stashnik in transition, scores! Brody Stashnik bounces it on Horn, and I told you off the top, those two guys, Mir and Stashnik, are going to have to be transitional threats for the Outlaws, and you see some of that there, and Stashnik has brought the Outlaws back within one. And that's one thing that people don't know about Brody Stashnik is that he can score. He's got good hands, and he can be a threat out the back gate. And he showed you that there as Ellis with a good loose ball as he's evading heavy traffic, getting hacked by Ferretti. And he's doing a good job not to engage. as Wells comes up high. Wells backpedals, and now he steps in. Wells thought about shooting, flips it inside, and it's picked off by Schultz, who's had a strong game here for the Crude. Schultz all the way up the floor, 2-on-1, 3-on-1. Drader, and the trailer gets stopped by Willis. Now no-look pass to the front of the net, and going all the way across the net was Drader to deposit it behind Willis, and the Crude have a 2-goal lead once again. So the last 3 Crude goals have all been in transition here. And that's certainly hurting the Outlaws, especially without their goaltenders here. Can't be giving up those looks. And in a game that they've really had an edge in the play, find themselves down 6-4. Lewis underneath, gets knocked down. Ball goes loose, and it's picked up by Horn, who sends it over to Ferretti. Ferretti sends that up for, excuse me, that's Reich, not Ferretti, and the ball will be possessed by the Crude. Fodchuk. Drag move underneath, twister, stopped by Willis. Loose ball, gathered up by Elliott. 5:55 to go in the second period. Ball up high, swung over to Fodchuk. He gets it back over to the right side for Fry. As he jumps deeper into the zone, he gets it up high to Elliott. That shot fired and missed, and Stashnik is going to go away with it. 3-on-2 here. Stashnik feeds it, and just out of the reach of Porter. Ball is picked back up by Muir as he goes around the net. Lachlan Muir is going to wait up and hope that he's joined by a few more teammates here. He fakes the handoff to Hildebrand. He's going to wind up and fire and score! From way out, from Red Deer, Lachlan Muir has made it 6-5. So following the Drader goal in transition, Lachlan Muir decides to throw a heater in from the rag line and having enough heat on it to get it up and into the top portion of the net. And Horn, who's had an excellent game here, in my opinion, would want that one back as the ball bounces back up to the rag line. Good draw. Sends it down to Ellis. Ellis is going to take it, and that pops up in the air, and a good stop by Horn, and there's a bunch of pushing and shoving in front of the net. They're going to give the ball to the Crude. Standing up the floor was Reich, and he'll wait up for some help, and he sends it over to Elliott. Liam Elliott lofts it over to Josh Fodchuk. Fodchuk backpedaling, sends it into the middle and gets it back from Fry. As an Outlaw is sent to the floor, that'll be moving. Wes Kendall is not going to miss that one, and it'll be Outlaw ball. Here's Keller. We got a tight one here, 4 minutes and change to go, second period. Crude up 6-5. As the ball gets sent up high, Lewis steps into one, and that gets easily blocked by a stick of the Crude. Good defense there. Quick stick, and just shutting that off. Then rebound attempt, and Keller might have hit some bar, and they call him for stepping inside the crease. Bilichuk is going to grab the loose ball up the floor. As that pass was sent up to him, he regathers, and he's going to hand it off here to Fodchuk. Josh Fodchuk into the zone. Sends it to Ballantyne, gets it back as they work the two-man game on the left side. Just above the dotted. Fry down low as it's brought up. Shot comes in, gets soaked by an Outlaw defender. I believe that was Walker as he shakes his hand. And then a no-look shot, backpedaling. Fodchuk unable to sneak it past Willis. Gaudreau has a man right off the bench here to the net. Lewis, and that's another good save up high by the goaltender Horn. Quick stick, and Wells not able to tuck that home. As I'm not sure if Horn got a piece of that or if that hit pipe. Maybe a bit of both as the ball goes back down into the near corner. Wells up high. It's mishandled there by the Outlaws. Lewis goes and gathers it up. Lewis from way out. That ball almost sneaks through Horn into the corner. Wells ties up with his man, and he somehow is able to step in front of him and grab the ball. Now wide open. Here's an Outlaw. It's Aitken up top. Wells. That shot goes off of a Crude defender. It'll be Outlaw ball. As Schultz decides to change at an odd time. Rossman, and that goes off of a defender. Rossman with a second opportunity, and Horn shuts the bottom of the net off. Shots now 40-29. Outlaws score 6-5 Crude here. 2.5 to go, and folks at home, nothing like playoff lacrosse. To me, Cody and I talk about this all the time, Keenan as well. We need longer series here. Just so much better than regular season games that a lot of them just turn out not to matter too much. As Willis is going to pick it up out of his net, but throw it well. It's going to go in right into the stick of Porter. 2-on-1. Outlaws stopped by Horn. Rebound Richardson, stopped again by Horn. Well, the ball snuck through. I thought Horn stopped it, but the ball made its way past him, and we are all tied up. Can't ask your goalie to make consecutive saves like that too many times. He has a bunch, but that's a big one for the Outlaws, and they've tied it back up. Now loose ball. Ferretti runs his man over. That's going to be Outlaw possession. Keller into the stick of Wells here. 2 minutes to go in the middle frame. Austin Wells threw that a little too high for Muir, but Ellis picks up the loose ball. He threw that into the middle. It goes off a stick. And it's going to be fought for there, and it's stripped away from the Crude, but it bounces right to Horn, who outlets up to McConnell. McConnell with a goal in this game. Part of that run where the Crude scored 3 in a row in transition. Fodchuk out the gate, swings it up high, and now to the half wall for Elliott. Elliott pushed out, sends it over to Ballantyne. Ballantyne down to Fodchuk. Ballantyne slips to the net and wide open. The ball was too high for him. And now it looks like we might have both guys going to the box here, as they're going to take Muir and Fry. With 1:17 to go, we'll play some 4-on-4. So 4-on-4, here we go. Elliott's got a lane to the net, but he got angled off as Fodchuk gets it back. He's getting a pick set there from Ballantyne. All over him was Gaudreau. Now Ballantyne to the net, stopped by Willis, who compresses his body and stops that. And now he sends it up to Gaudreau. Jacob Gaudreau in transition, stopped by Horn. Great save there, once again, by Mr. Horn. And he'll safely send it up to Nicopillo. 40 seconds remaining in the middle frame. Crude are going to go to work here with Fodchuk in possession. Fodchuk backpedals out, and he almost stumbled there. He regains his balance. He swings it over to Elliott. Elliott tries to flip it inside. Bowie missed it. Now he almost collected it, but Keller is going to come away with it, and the Outlaws would be wise to call a timeout here. It looks like they're calling for it, but they're not getting one. Now they do, I believe. Yes, they will get it. So with 18 seconds to go, the Outlaws will almost certainly pull Willis, go 6-on-5, draw something up, and we'll see what answer the Crude defense has here in a moment. So it's going to be started up high with possession into the stick of Wells. And the clock already running here. The Outlaws will wait till usually about 8 seconds to go before they run anything. As Wells looks back at the clock, they'll go here with 8 seconds. Ellis sends it over to Lewis. Lewis steps in, stopped by Horn. Rebound opportunity sent wide. And now the Crude with a last-second attempt at the empty net, and not much, there was no time left, so it wouldn't have counted anyway. And that'll do it for the second period of action. What the score? The Beaumont Outlaws 6, the St. Albert Crude 6. I want to thank you for joining us here on the channel. CROW LAX TV, hit subscribe. You'll be notified every time a game goes live. Game 1 of the North semifinal. We'll be back in just under 10 minutes time. 6-6 after 2. Make sure you don't miss the third. welcome back inside Jerome Aguinla Arena for third period action. We're all knotted up here at 6. It's game 1 of the North semifinal, best of 3. Game 2 will go tomorrow night out of Ken Nickel in Beaumont, and then game 3, if necessary, Monday night in Service Place here in St. Albert. But first, we got a lot to decide here in game 1 as Fodchuk sends it back over to Elliott. Now Fodchuk, as they swing the ball across the top, shot into the stick of Willis, who grabs that and sends it to Polson. Wyatt Polson takes it and gets it over center. Polson is going to pull it out here as the teams go back to 5-on-5. Polson steps into one, pulls it wide, and Fry jumps up and gathers it in. Bennett Fry jogs over center, and Crude are going to set up. Now the winner of this series will go on to play the Rebels in the North Final, but the winner of this series, because the Rebels are hosting, are already in the provincials, so the winner of this series will represent the North in the provincials this season and fight for their right to go to the Founders Cup, also in Alberta this year in Calgary. Cook gets it to Porter just across center. Here's Lewis. Sends it over to Wells. He flips it back for Hildebrand. That's out of his reach. Lewis mishandles the loose ball, and now he sends it on net. Goes wide, and it'll go out of play. It'll be Crude possession here. I want to thank you for joining us here on the channel, CROW LAX TV. It's playoff time. No better time than now to hit subscribe and get notified every time a game goes live. Tomorrow night, game 2 of this series, and out of Rocky View, we've got the Tips. The Rocky View Silver Tips taking on the Calgary Chill in game 1 of that Central semifinal. And then the senior playoffs also start on the channel on Saturday, so plenty of action coming up for you. Crude ball as they send it over to Fry. Bennett Fry is going to step near the dotted, roll back out, now step back in. Bennett Fry scores. Willis just did not step out on the shot, went right through him. 7-6. So Fry gives the Crude the lead back here. And the St. Albert side have possession off the draw. Nicapillo is going to go deep into the Outlaw zone and flip it back for Fodchuk. Fodchuk at the circle, sends it down to Nicapillo, who is camped out on the crease. He gets pushed out, sends it up to Fodchuk. Fodchuk from well out into the memorabilia of Willis. Willis, high pass, up to Polson. Wyatt Polson is going to go one-on-one. He gets pushed back out. Hard pick set there for him. Now, Wells down to the crease. Rebound, and it's batted in by the Outlaws as Parker Aitken goes golfing and hits a chip shot into the net to tie the game up. And that goes in from way out here, and Fodchuk gives the Crude the lead once again. As the ball gets pushed near the Crude bench, it's picked up by Ellis, who rolls it out high for Wells. Wells takes a hack, gets it over to Polson. Pick comes for Polson by Porter. Polson to the dotted, and that gets shut off by Horn. Loose ball, Porter's pushed, and it's going to be picked up by the Crude. Mishandled, though, as Porter takes some whacks at Reich. McConnell now steps out. He's pushed into the boards by Porter, but got the ball over safely to Fodchuk. Fodchuk in the far corner over to Elliott. Now he swings it over to Stenson, who moves it up high to Fry. Bennett Fry to Bowie. Bowie underneath, and Bowie with a bounce shot into Willis. That'll be a reset in the Crude's favor. Ball swings to Fodchuk. Fodchuk chased to the circle. He swings it back over to Elliott. Liam Elliott up high, flips into the middle, and that's a good stop by Willis in a time that his team desperately needed one after a couple of bad goals. Here's Gaudreau to Hildebrand off the bench, and he scores. Marcus Hildebrand breaks in to tie this one up again as we go back and forth here in St. Albert. So a flurry of goals here to start the third. We were 6-6 to start the third. Now we're 8-8, and we've still got 15 minutes to go here. As the loose ball is picked up quickly here by Ballantyne. In front, Fodchuk, BTB, stopped by Willis. And now the Outlaws sail the pass up the floor into the stick of Cook. He gets across the timeline and hands it to Porter. On the exchange here, Lewis to the dotted, gets hit up high, loses it, and Ferretti is going to grab the loose ball. Julian Ferretti going to tackle Lewis to the floor. Now Lewis is going to be grabbed by Ferretti after Lewis kind of bent over to rough him up, and I don't know what the heck that's about. Wells from distance, and that's smothered by Horn. Ferretti just jumped on the back of Lewis, and then Lewis jumped on him when he was on the ground. Probably could have given both a penalty. Elliott gonna go underneath to the net. Fry just missing the target. Well, they say there was a stop, and then the quick stick comes in out of the stick of Tyson Smith, and Willis stepping up here. And now the ball into the stick of Hildebrand, who takes a whack. Hildebrand scores! Marcus Hildebrand back-to-back for the Outlaws, and they take a 9-8 lead. Draw goes to the near boards, and Outlaw runs in and hits a Crude player. I don't know how this is Outlaw's ball. Nick Apillo got run over. That should have been at least Crude ball. I thought maybe a call was forthcoming there, but none of the type. And the Outlaws are gonna possess here. Ellis across the top, hands it off. Porter swings it to Hildebrand. Hildebrand feeling it right now. Hildebrand twister, and he scores again. Marcus Hildebrand with 3 goals in a row here for the Outlaws. And that was a hell of a release, folks. You don't see that type of goal in Junior B too often. Goal of the game to this point, and maybe goal of the year. It's 10-8. If you ever heard of the sport of lacrosse, I hope you're tuning in tonight, because these two teams in the opening game of the playoffs this calendar year are delivering. And they're trading punches here as the Outlaws have their first 2-goal lead of the game. Ball up high. Austin Wells is going to have a pick set on the run, and he misses the target on the jump shot. Ball bounces back out. It's batted into back into the zone, and it's picked up by McConnell, who's had a strong game for the Crude in transition, has a marker of his own, and he calms it down here for the home side. He gets it to Elliott, and Elliott's going to have to do some heavy lifting here. The Crude want to get back into this one. Smith, Fodchuk, another guy that's going to have to probably step up here for the Crude as he's knocked out to the far wall. Gaudreau on him. Stashnik now over on him. Elliott winds, rips that wide to the near corner. And that'll be back over Outlaws possession. 12:06 to go. Outlaws leading 10-8. Shots reading 51-39 in favor of the Outlaws. As Dzwanka and Ellis mix it up here. Ellis sets it on Lemieux as the ball over with Porter on the left side. Rossman takes it underneath. Felix Rossman scores! Felix Rossman out of nowhere decides to go underneath his defender and goes far side around the leg of Horn to make it 11-8. As the officials gathered to talk about something, I think they were just discussing maybe something to look for as the Crude were making the goalie change. It's going to be Horbe in, and I don't know, like, Horn was so good in the first 2 periods. I know the Outlaws are on a run here, but a couple of those goals, man, nobody in this league are stopped. The Hildebrand twister, nobody's stopping that. As the ball goes deep into Nicapillo, but obviously the Crude are trying to change the momentum here, and you often see teams do that as they'll go to the goaltending to try to fix things. And now Ballantyne to the net, stopped by Willis. And I don't know, on the outside looking in, you might not understand. There's some things going on behind the scenes here with the Outlaws that make this game pretty damn impressive from their side of things. Put them sort of behind the 8 ball in some ways, as now Sutherland bats this back into the stick of Reich. And now he's going to regather. Crude, the favorites coming in, are going to have to battle here to work their way back in. Now Bowie to the net, and he scores. Bowie answers the Outlaws' run to narrow the lead back down to 2 with 11:03 to go. So the Crude with a much needed goal there to narrow it back down to a 2-goal gap. And we've got 10.5 to go, and now from well out, Fodchuk rips it up high on Willis to narrow it back to 1. Crude off the draw, pick up the loose change, and McConnell is going to get another possession here for the Crude. Elliott makes his way into the zone. Liam Elliott, Fry, Smith. Back over to Elliott. He works his way in on Sutherland, flips into the middle, and Fry just could not bring it in on the little flip off the rule. And here comes the Outlaws in transition. Numbers again. Keller got Wells to the net. Wells stopped up high by the goaltender, Horbay. And the Crude will survive that rush. Crude will survive that rush there as the St. Albert side come back in. Bowie to the net. Bowie low, and this time Willis able to make the save. As we dip underneath 10 minutes to go, Outlaws up 11-10 from Jerome McGinley Arena. I want to thank you for joining us here on the channel. Playoff Lacrosse, it's game 1 of the North semifinal. The Outlaws and the Crude. Hildebrand to the net. Hildebrand scores, and Hildebrand once again beating his man and just firing it past the netminder. And the hot stick of Marcus Hildebrand has really given the Outlaws a big boost here late. And the Outlaws are going to gain possession here. Back-to-back possessions for them as they're back up to Porter. As he's marked there by Reich. Jesse Porter is going to look, and he's going to send it over to Lewis, who just sends a push shot way wide of the target. Now the ball goes back over near the Outlaws bench, and we're going to get our third and final media timeout. With the score, the Outlaws 12, the Crude 10. Want to thank you for joining us here on the channel. CROW LAX TV, hit subscribe. You'll be notified every time a game goes live. It's game 1 of the North semifinal. The 2-seeded Crude, the 3-seeded Outlaws. The winner moving on to take on the Rebels, and the winner also gaining a spot in this year's provincials to battle for a spot in this year's Founders Cup being held in Calgary. We'll take a break here, and we'll be back with you in about 30 seconds. Crude, they're going to take it up high with Elliott. Elliott had a cutter, and that's Stenson as he backpedaled and shot it. That goes wide. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Tyson Smith, opportunity, rebound, forward chuck, dip and dunk, and that's stopped by Willis. Rebound, and Smith somehow didn't pot it, as Willis didn't even know where the ball was. And now the ball comes back in possession of the Outlaws. Gaudreau, who's been a horse all season for the Outlaws, is surrounded by Crude players, and now he goes down. The ball's still loose and not picked up by the Crude somehow, and Rossman is going to take it around the net, and a delayed call coming up against the Crude as Gaudreau was sent to the floor. And as the ball is picked up by Reich, penalty coming up, Outlaws power play. So there's always like sort of these breaking points in games, and this is one of them right now. If the Outlaws are able to capitalize on this opportunity with just 8 minutes to go, already up 2, they will almost solidify this one and put themselves in a great position to win here. As Hildebrand sends it to Ellis. Wells. And that goes around the top with Ellis. He throws that. I think he was trying to hit loose. Quick stick. And jumping up on the crease there was Wells. And somehow staying out of the net. Ball's going to bounce down into the corner where Polson boxes out McConnell and grabs the loose ball. And like I said, next one and this one, paramount. Outlaws with the opportunity here of 7:30 to go on the power play. 12-10 they lead. Wells Ellis back up to Wells. He gets run out on by McConnell on a bit of an explosion out the box. And then that shot goes through Horbay by Austin Wells, the former St. Albert Crude player, coming over in a trade. And the Outlaws have their 3-goal lead back. Now the Outlaws are going to have that ball dribble to the Crude bench. Ferretti hacking away at Rossman, and it's going to be Crude ball. And this place has filled up here. We've got a pretty good crowd, our best one of the season, I would say, in this arena. A lot of people on the glass. And you see that come playoff time more often than not. It's part of what makes it so special. As the ball gets sent back over, Bowie outside look, and that goes through Willis from just way too far out. And it can't go in, and the Crude are back within 2. And now the Crude win possession off the draw. Schultz will skip into the offensive zone. 6:30 to go, 13-11, the Outlaws lead. There's been some questionable goals in this one, also some very nice ones as Fodchuk goes around the net. One hands it up to Fry. Fry's going to step in and sends a one that sailed up over, and Elliott with the behind the back has narrowed this one back down to 1. And on the ensuing draw, McConnell's going to come away with it, and the Crude are going to have an opportunity to tie it all of a sudden. Elliott to the net. Liam Elliott up high, and that just missed the far top corner. Ball bounces right out to Fry. Fry hits Bowie. Bowie swings it over to Stenson, who swings it back over promptly to Elliott. Elliott across the top and stopped by Willis. As the Outlaws get pushed down, that's Gaudreau, but coming away with it is Wyatt Polson. 5:35 to go. The Outlaws unable to put their stamp on this one. Still only up by 1. Polson gets stripped and his stick knocked out of his hands. The yard sale results in a turnover, and the Crude come back up floor. Reich mishandles it. He's trying to bring it in. He does, as he's harassed there by Porter. Porter hits Smith. Smith now up to Fry. Bennett Fry. He's going to go one-on-one here. Swings it to Ballantyne. He promptly gets it to Fodchuk, who throws it away into the stick of Keller. Noah Keller's got a 2-on-1 with Lachlan Muir. Keller to the net. Noah Keller, and he's stopped up high by Horbay as he steps inside the crease. Big save there by the netminder. Keeps this one a 1-goal spread. Ball brought up by the Crude. Gerard to Elliott, who has the latest goal in this one. A smooth behind the back off of a errant shot on the end wall. Here's the ball with Smith. From way out, misses the net. And that's going to be picked up by Poulsen. You just never know in this game, this one in particular, because shots from everywhere have been going in. Poulsen, Aitken, back to Poulsen. Now, Lewis, and that shot goes off of the backboards as the Outlaws fans thought that went in, and that's going to be back in. Outlaws possession. .4:13 to go here. Lewis out of the corner, sends it up high to Porter. Now Rossman. Rossman feeds it in front. Hildebrand, and I don't know if he caught that. And now Ferretti comes in with a cross check to an Outlaw. And I think they're gonna take both of them here. And I didn't see how that ended up in the net. Like, did that, I don't know if Hildebrand caught that or if it went off him into the net and it deflected, but we're gonna get matching penalties here. Cross-checking to each of Ferretti and Aitken. So it is 14-12, and I can't, nobody in the building seemed to see how that went in. It looked like it deflected in off of something. I don't think Hildebrand caught that and threw it in the net, but if you're watching at home, feel free to comment. Strange goal, but it's a big one for the Outlaws as they have a 2-goal lead. Here's Fry. Bennett Fry. And the Crude had too many players on the floor. The Outlaws are going to take possession here. Actually, excuse me, they're going to go to the box. So the Outlaws are going to have a 4-on-3 here for the too many men call. Hildebrand behind the back, over to Porter, back to Hildebrand. He doesn't bring it in. Now Wells is going to have to get back here as the ball's knocked loose by Drader. Good hustle by Lewis, who comes in and bumps Drader, and he's going to take the interference call. Pretty easy call there for the official. And they had the number advantage, so I don't know why Lewis did that. But now the Outlaws are going to strip it away, and they're going to have possession here. 14-12, they lead. Just over 3 minutes to go. Game 1 of the North semifinal. Best of 3. Game 2 tomorrow night. Now that pick set for Hildebrand, and he comes in with a shot off of Horbe, and the Outlaws will maintain possession. If you're the Outlaws, you probably want to use as much time as you can on this 4-on-3 and not take any early shots like that. But that goes in. I mean, that was fortunate. I don't know if you want to take that, but Lewis makes a good shot at least, and it's 15-12. And everything has been going in the net here in this third period. We started the final frame tied at 6. We're now at 15-12 with still 2:54 to go. That, folks, means we have a 9-6 third period at this moment. All right, pretty ridiculous. And as we wait for some of the time to go up on the clock, on the penalties, I believe we go back to 4-on-4. The ball goes loose, and Porter is going to hustle after it. Porter, partial break. Porter to the net, and he's stopped by Horbe. Crude possession. 2:40 to go. They trail by 3. And again, which would be a pretty exceptional upset here, all things considered, when you look at some of the things that you might not know are going on here as the ball gets sent around the perimeter. Fodchuk into the corner. Gaudreau all over him. Fodchuk on the run, feeds it, and the ball almost got to Stenson. Good stick there by Noah Keller to knock it down. Keller on the loose ball here. He's gonna peel out and control. Ferretti and Aitken out of the box as we dip underneath 2 minutes to go. Wells at the circle. Winds and fires, that's easily soaked. Loose ball is going to be picked up by Ferretti. Julian Ferretti is going to get knocked down in transition. Don't believe there's going to be a call coming. He's not happy with that. Aitken. And now Ferretti is going to go to the box for having words with the official. Outlaws, be smart just to hold on to this here. Wells up to Hildebrand. Sealed by Ellis. That shot goes off of a body. Back to center. And they'll blow it down. Crude go back to the box. So with 1:13 to go, the Outlaws going back to the power play. They'll take a timeout. We'll take this time to remind you, you can catch Game 2 of this series tomorrow night from Ken Nickel. The Outlaws will host the Crude, looking if they hold on here to win the series. And also on the channel tomorrow night, the Rocky View Silvertips down in Crossfield will take on the Calgary Chill in Game 1 of the Central semifinal. And then on Saturday, you can check out some where the Mountaineers travel into Beaumont to take on the Outlaws. That's Game 1 of a best of 5. If necessary, Game 3 of this series on Monday night in Service Place. And the Outlaws will just hang on to this with a minute to go. Ball sailed up high. Wells in possession as the Outlaws look to kill some time even though they're on the man advantage. Honestly, if I was the Crude, I would have pulled my goalie and just doubled the ball. You have nothing left to lose. It's under a minute. And you need the ball here as Hildebrand just floats that into the stick of Horbe. Up to Fodchuk, who's going to get doubled here. He gets knocked on the back. McConnell to the net. Parker McConnell fought off by Willis. Loose ball comes back out and into the stick of Gaudreau. And now we've got some type of turnover here. The Crude are going to take back possession. 25 seconds to go. Ball into the stick of Fry. He looks at the net. He doesn't take the shot. He takes a hack from Porter. 14 seconds to go. Valentine, Fodchuk gets it back over to Fry. Bennett Fry chased into the corner. Fry gets knocked down and ball's missed by the Outlaws. Back into the stick of the Crude, but this game is going to end. That's not going to count as that ball had crossed the line well after the horn went. Willis wasn't even looking anymore at the play. And that's going to be a final score as the Crude, or as the Outlaws come into St. Albert and knock off the Crude in Game 1. They take it by a final score of 15-12. The Outlaws host Game 2 tomorrow night in Beaumont at 8 o'clock right here on the channel. It's a best of 3, so the Crude will have a chance to tie it up and send it to a final third game on Monday night, as the fans here in the building not happy with the officials on the Crude side. But nonetheless, the Outlaws are going to come out of here with the win. Final score, the Outlaws 15, the Crude 12. The Outlaws take the 1-0 series lead. Check back with us here tomorrow night for a pair of games. As I outlined, the Crude will go into Beaumont to take on the Outlaws, and the Silvertips will host the Chill in Game 1 of their Central semifinal. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll check back with you here tomorrow night. Final score, Outlaws 15, Crude 12. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.